this thing is loud. Oh my Lord, this thing is loud. You know, like I feel like I'm going really fast, but the car's piling up behind me. Tells me a different story. Hey, buddy. Oh man, this sounds like a truck. Alright, I'm gonna park it right here. Oh my god, this thing is so loud. What am I riding, you might ask? This is the bike I'm riding. Bought this yesterday, and this is probably the second best beginner bike you can get for under $1,000 that might need a little bit of work. This is a Honda Rebel 250cc. And of course, as you guys know, Honda now has different Rebels. They brought back the Rebel. They have the 500 and the 1100, and I believe they even make them in DCT, but this is the 250. This is the bike that started, or at least a lot of the motorcycle safety classes have been held using these bikes. And the reason these things are popular, you can get these left and right for $1,000, a little bit on the beat up side, $2,000 in much better condition. They are popular. 250cc engine, it is tiny. This, of course, competed with the Kawasaki Ninja 250 when it comes to beginner bikes. The Kawasaki Ninja 250 guys were more the sport oriented ones, and this is the cruiser type of rider. So they kind of floated left and right, you know, either sport or cruiser. This is the cruiser version. Look how tiny this little engine is. But it's a beautiful engine. You know, if it didn't have this crazy exhaust, you might think I'm riding some sort of Harley. But there's something that I really like about these simple engines. Look at that, tiny, just absolutely tiny engine. Air cooled, the carb is right there. That's right, this is carbureted. And it needs a little bit of work on the carbs. It's a little gummy in the beginning, just the initial pull. I'm pulling off those carbs, but look how easy it is to remove the carb. Just kind of pull it right out. I mean, this is the way God meant to create motorcycles. Very easy to replace things. The cables for the throttles are there. You can replace it extremely easy. The tank is metal. It just kind of floats down. I don't believe there's no fuel pump. It's the simplest type of motorcycle. The batteries here, these come with covers. I am missing the covers. I need to look for somebody that has them. And here's the throttle. What, throttle? No, or the choke. Yeah, it might be the choke. That's the filler, and it's got like a little dipstick you can measure. Foot pegs for your passenger, nice and soft. And of course, this is a feet forward position that I don't really like. But, you know, when you get something cheap, that's what you get, you know. I am actually very pleased with this bike. I have a lot of respect for these little 250s. These bikes pretty much taught thousands of riders how to ride. I don't know the history of this one, and a lot of people get them. Shorter riders love them. I mean, Jesus Christ, this thing is tiny. I'm 5'9". I'm like sitting on it, bending my knees, flat footing. This thing is super light, very easy to ride. And look at this. Look at that massive front wheel. 18 front. So pretty interesting. 18 front. My ST1300 is an 18 front as well. Wire spoked rims, which is pretty strong. And it's got 2 spark plugs, 2 exhausts, dual exhaust motorcycle. You have a traditional petcock here. Look at that. Here's the petcock. Fuel is on the up position. This way is off. You should, I think a lot of newer riders have never seen this, but that's the air filter. Of course, this is the model name, CMX 250 CV, color NH.1. Kind of wish it was a shaft drive, but you know, this is a budget bike, so you're not going to get a shaft driven bike on a 250 that costs, I don't know how much the new Rebels are, maybe 5,000, 6,000, 7. You can pick one of these up for like 2,000. So to me, this is a much better deal. Look at that tiny little, I mean, you know, if you don't know any better, this bike looks like a big Harley. It really does. Like, you kind of look around, it's like, oh yeah, it's a nice bike. And then you kind of look around this way and you see through the engine and you realize that it's tiny. But I am a fan of tiny motors, and this one is legendary. People love this. Drum brake in the rear, disc brake in the front, single disc brake in the front. You know, it's the simplest thing possible. Everything works. You have a little tiny passenger cushion here, and this is actually decently comfortable. I don't really know too much about it. I need to fix the speedometer right there. I have to get a new cable, and I am considering changing out this tachometer to a digital one. But you know what? I'm a fan of keeping things the way they were, as God intended them. You know, this bike was intended to come into this world in analog form, so I'm thinking about changing that to analog. That actually works fine. It's got 19,000 miles, possibly a little bit more, but you know, these bikes, they don't see a lot of action. They get ridden a little bit. Guys and girls, a lot of girls, they will get these, they will ride them for a bit and go like, ooh, let me get my Harley or my whatever bike that they are dreaming of. Time to start the bike up. Now, the previous owner, he cut the exhaust, so unfortunately it's rather loud. And all right, I'm gonna start it up. It actually starts fairly well because it's warm, but everything works. Tail lights, blinkers. Really the only thing is the exhaust that's been cut, that I really would like to try and fix that. If you guys know how a good way of fixing an exhaust cheaply, I don't want to spend too much money on it. I would like to find out. I may be able to buy like some sort of Chinese exhaust for $100, but you know, when a bike is cheap, $100, that's a big percentage of the cost. So let's get out of here. I'm gonna go ahead and go to a gas station and fill up. I mean, this thing is so light. What's the rear tire size? I don't even know. Very short wheelbase. 15. So it's got a 15, 18. 15 rear, 18 front. I had to stop and put my earplugs on because it is unbelievably loud, and this is way too loud. I know I like loudness. I like loudness, but this is ridiculous. Too loud. He's booking. Man, this guy's flying on his bike. Hopefully I can catch up with him. Alright, let's I don't know, there's something. Oh my god, this thing is so loud. And it's not going anywhere. Pretty stable. This is the first ride I am doing on this bike, so look at that. I'm almost catching up with the cyclist. Almost. God, this guy is booking. That is fast. He's going like 1,000 miles an hour. This is also bent. You see that? The rubber's coming out here. So I'm gonna have to fix that. The question is, why did I get a Honda Rebel 250. Why is that? Oh, that guy was going fast. Well, I get that. Oh, I think it was the Lamborghini that was going fast. Oh yeah, it was the Lamborghini going super fast. Yeah, why did I get this thing? Well, for several reasons. First, I admire the small learners bikes that people kind of throw away, but they tend to really kick themselves after they sell the bike. And I love the fact that thousands of riders have learned to ride properly on a bike like this. I love that, you know. I keep asking myself, why do I have a Honda ST1300? This bike does everything I want. I just get to the place a little bit slower. Sure, it's not as comfortable, man, but you know, sometimes you get carried away with technology. And the other reason is that I have a friend that wants to learn how to ride, and what I'm thinking about doing is fixing this up and then selling it to him at the same price that I bought it. So it's going to be a learning bike for him, and when he wants to get rid of it, I'll buy it back from him, as long as he doesn't destroy it. You know, sometimes guys will destroy their bikes. But I'm gonna fix the bike, the Speedo, maybe put some nicer blinkers on. You know, you got to be visible, and he's gonna learn to ride. And he wanted a bike like this. Like, look at this, you still flip these numbers to reset your trip. How cool is that? Well guys, that is the ride on the Honda Rebel. You know, I'm currently going to be looking over this bike. You know, it is a very old bike, 1997, and it needs a few things here and there, the carbs and, you know, all of these things. The exhaust, if you guys know where to get an exhaust for it, that would be great. It is just a little bit on the loud side for my liking, but it works. You know, it sounds like a much bigger motorcycle. I prefer it just a little bit lower, because you definitely need earplugs, because this thing, I can't imagine the people behind me what they think about it, but I'm kind of pleased with it. You know, I do admire the Honda Rebel. It's a bike that beginners get, and then they often forget, and then eventually they'll get it again. But that's it for the video, guys. Stay tuned for more of the upcoming Honda Rebel videos, and I'm going to be teaching a friend of mine how to ride. I'm going to be doing some videos on how to ride a motorcycle like this in the very beginning when you are first starting out. So stay tuned for that.